Welcome to episode 13 of Bagels and Locks on this beautiful Monday afternoon, August 17th. You'll probably be hearing this on Tuesday the 18th. What a great day, Brandon. We got NBA playoffs to talk about. Some basketball currently being played right now. The Nuggets are up 103-102 with 3:30 left in the fourth quarter. That one's a nail-biter. We're also talking some MLB news specifically related to the Tigers. Got some really important big headlines going on there. Another segment from last week returning called In Other News, where we break up the sports talk to talk about something else. So pay attention to that in the middle of the episode. And we're also talking some football news because even though we said college football was canceled last week, it's looking like that might not be the case for some of the conferences at least. So, Brandon, how are you, man?
I'm okay, Jason. I want to start off here with a quick shout out. Big shout out, Dean Salen, aka Big Diesel. Dean had probably the round of his life. Knollwood Country Club yesterday. He gassed in. He shot a 72. We spoke right before this, and he was like,
phenomenal.
You know what? Gas me up. So, we got to gas Dean up. He had 14 pars on the day, something that I can only see when I'm dreaming. Who knows if that day will ever come for me. It will. But yeah, huge shout out to Dean. We love to see it. Dean's playing incredible golf right now. Also, big shout out Eli Hammer. Him and I just got off the course. He played one of the best rounds I've seen him play. Michael Coons with a birdie on it was probably, I think, hole 12 or 13, his first bird. We celebrated. Just good day all around. Making big improvements on the golf course. I've been slacking as of late, Jason. My last few rounds have been garbage, but today,
it's a little tough.
Some of you saw on our Instagram Live, which, by the way, our Instagram, if you guys don't know by now, it is at Bagels and Locks Pod. Lots of quality content on there. Jason's always gassing us up with incredible videos, and yeah, it's going well. It's weird that it's Monday. It still feels like the weekend, especially we got NBA playoffs going on a Monday afternoon
in August.
So strange times, but yeah, let's go right into it, Jason.
Before we do,
sorry. I didn't even ask how you're doing.
I'm fine, but actually my back's been fucking killing me, to be honest with you. But it's been getting better the past couple of days. I flipped my mattress around. I've been doing some stretches, so
they say that makes
we're on the
massive
upswing.
Difference.
It does. I could highly recommend it. Fuck, bro. For those that can't read my name, I'm currently sweating Nuggets -4.5 and Denver money line. Watching it live here.
What are we looking at score-wise?
It's 107-105 Utah with 2:30 left. So the spread might be tough, but money line, I have it in a parlay, so it could be nice.
Name. I didn't realize your name on the Zoom. Wow.
But the thing I actually wanted to bring up was we're both wearing sweatshirts, and this was not planned at all. And it's the middle of August. So the reason I'm wearing mine is for the Lakers because it's, the playoffs are back. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Why are you wearing a sweatshirt?
Well, okay, we FaceTimed before this episode, and I had to shower, and it looked like you were wearing a sweatshirt, and I was like, that kind of sounds nice. Like, I don't know, you got the AC going in the house. It's kind of cool. Like, why not switch things up?
Yeah.
Here we are. You send me the invite. Boom, I joined the Zoom, and one thing leads to another, and here we are both wearing hoodies. So you love to see it, Jason. More than anything else, you love to see that.
I do love hoodie season. Don't get me wrong. But
pumpkin spice season coming up, too, for all you ladies out there. And I don't mind a pumpkin spice latte myself, let's just say. So fall is coming. Get ready.
Definitely. So here we go. NBA news, we'll start with that. The players for the playoffs are allowed to have guests come in the bubble, and they must be their family members or have proof of a long-standing relationship for non-family members, aka no Instagram thoughts. So Brandon, what do you think about this? Do you think this could jeopardize the bubble situation as we know it? I'm sure the players are excited.
Listen, I know they're excited, especially those who have families and they've been in Orlando since the beginning of July, so they haven't been around their families for pushing 2 months. It's definitely been a struggle, so I'm sure that they are ecstatic to have their family around. What's weird though is the rules in terms of like the quarantine for them. So families and guests, they have to quarantine for 7 days, which is interesting because for the players, Jay, initially it was a 48-hour span. So between the players and their guests or family, like big difference in terms of a week versus 48 hours. So right off the bat, that's pretty interesting. It says players are allowed 1 ticket per guest per playoff game, with an additional seat available to a child 32 inches or shorter. Jay, are you 32 inches or shorter?
No, and I thought this rule in particular was super interesting because, like, if you're an NBA player, like, I don't know, there's a good chance your kid is probably super tall, right? So, like, at what age is 32 inches or shorter applicable to? Like, what does that look like necessarily? Because I feel like a lot of these guys have pretty big babies and toddlers.
Yeah, and what is 32 inches? How many? 12, 24, 36?
I mean,
so like
it's nearly three feet.
Just
like,
about 3 feet. Look, I don't know. They better be hoping that their son or daughter has exceeded 32 inches out here. I'm sure their wives or girlfriends or whatever the case may be do exceed 32 inches. But it sounds like too, like, everyone's only allowed like 1 guest. So if you have a wife, she's coming. If you have a girlfriend, she's probably
if you can prove it.
If you can prove it. So that's where I'm confused, is like it doesn't really show, at least in this article that we know, how you prove this long-standing relationship. So like, what if I was in the NBA, right? You were my girlfriend. You, Jason Silverstone.
Sure. Okay.
Do you count as a long-standing relationship? Like, we've been dating for 2 years, right? What's
the burden of proof on that one?
Right. It's not like you have a license or an ID that says, hey, look, I've been dating Brandon for X amount of time. Please let me in. We don't see that. I mean, do they go by like when you first started DMing on Instagram?
I don't know. And the thing is, like, what if the cutoff is like 6 months or something? You've been talking to them for 5 months and 30 days. Like, they can't come. Like, what? It's just it's definitely an interesting situation. Just a little score update here. Tied at 113, 26 seconds left. Nikola Jokic is at the free throw line, and Donovan Mitchell, I believe, has 45 points. It might be 47. Playing phenomenal for him. I'm really glad that when he worked out for the Pistons, he made every single shot, literally didn't miss one, and then we drafted Luke Kennard instead of Donovan Mitchell. That was a really good move that our organization made.
I peeped that. Oh, a side note, did you see, I came across this on Twitter and I meant to send it to you.
Yeah.
It was like nobody. And then the NBA playoffs in 2013. And it was like an ESPN ad, and it was Pitbull, and they were singing what's the song? It's I'm yelling Timber with Kesha,
Yeah.
What is that song called?
It's called Timber, I'm pretty sure.
Is it called Timber?
I'm like 85% sure.
Okay, so let's say it is Timber.
Yeah.
But, bro, it was so awkward. They had like Chris Paul and like Kevin Durant, and they were like dancing with Pitbull. Like, it was tough, bro.
That's
like
hilarious.
imagine being like in the playoffs and you're being directed like, we want you guys to boogie and groove with Pitbull for this like commercial. That is tough.
They probably got a fat bag for doing that, though.
Oh, they got paid, sis. I'm sure they did. So yes, bro, this rule is interesting, but a lot of players, I'm sure, are really glad that they can have their family come back, and it means a lot to them. Will it make an impact? We'll see, but at least for their sanity and their mental health, it definitely feels good to have their family in attendance and watching them play. It's not like we're shitting on the Michelob Ultra virtual fan section. Those people are still all in, supporting their teams and whatnot, but it's nice to have their family in attendance. So it's really good for them. Let's talk about some of the NBA Player Awards, if you will, for the
for the
regular
seeding
season,
games.
for the seeding games.
So pretty much in the bubble, excluding the playoffs.
Correct. To no surprise, Jason, the player of the seeding games, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers, after he missed those 2 free throws that would have put them ahead against the Clippers, he just put it into a different gear, brother, a different dimension.
Yeah.
Really great to see him, when it really came down to it, just perform like that. If anybody else, obviously it would have been Devin Booker. No one saw the Suns going undefeated and playing as well as they did.
It's crazy because I remember a week ago we were talking about what happened with Lillard and the Clippers. And we were also talking about the Suns would have to just win every game, and I don't know if that could happen. And they won every game, and the Clippers I don't know if you saw that last game against the Nets, or the Blazers, excuse me, their last game against the Nets in the regular season, but that was just phenomenal, one of the best basketball games I've ever seen. But if they lost that game, the Suns would have actually had the shot to play the Grizzlies for the play-in game. So they were actually that close, which is incredible. And now Donovan Mitchell has 50. He's going for his 51st right here. So he tied the franchise record with Karl Malone in playoffs, and he just got it for himself, 51 points. Tie game, 115, 22 seconds left in that one. But
this says for me, this says it's
you're probably a little ahead. You're probably a little ahead because I'm streaming.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
I'm
on ESPN, the website.
Yeah.
Okay, forget what I told you. Forget what I said about the score.
I mean, I'm gonna guess that this goes to overtime. Would be my guess. Okay, Jokic, Mitch. Yeah, okay, it's going to overtime.
Yeah, it's going to overtime.
Okay,
it's going to overtime.
Okay, so we're still sweating the 4.5. We still, my name is still true. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Lillard put on an absolutely phenomenal performance. I think he had, by the end of the season, he had 3 60-point games, and him and Wilt Chamberlain are the only 2 players that have ever done that in a year. And they always say whenever you share a stat line with Wilt, you're doing something right. So that's really huge from him.
You saw the Adidas thing with his
they
shoes?
put his shoes on sale. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Selling his shoes for $61, pretty awesome. I mean, great marketing. I'm sure they sold out like that.
I mean, that's a great deal for some basketball shoes. $60.
Yeah, I heard about it after the fact, but I was like, wow, that's really cool.
I actually know one of my friends that has a pair of those shoes. Bought them at full price, unfortunately, but they said they're really comfortable and awesome to hoop in. But he says that he thinks they look ugly. So
really,
yeah.
Well,
but
if they feel good, I mean,
doesn't really matter,
who cares what they look like? You're out there balling on a budget with these $60, but it was tough for him. He paid full price. Now we're taking a look. So the all seeding games, first team. Any surprises here, Jason? I don't really think so. You got Devin Booker, Luka, Dame, James Harden, who went off within the first couple of games of the regular season. Still performed well. TJ Warren was a monster. He went. He had that 50-point performance, and then the next day or the next game, he didn't miss a shot in the first half. So he went off. Any surprises there, Jay, do you think?
Nope. I got no problem with any of these selections, honestly. So for the all-seeding game second team, you got Giannis, the Greek Freak, Kawhi, the Claw, Kristaps Porzingis, the Unicorn, Karis LeVert, Michigan alum, and Michael Porter Jr., MPJ. I don't have a problem with any of those choices either. The way Kristaps has been playing in the bubble compared to how he played in the regular season has been a world's difference. Giannis has looked unstoppable. Kawhi just looks, he's Kawhi. He just doesn't even look like he's doing that much. And then you check the stat line on the game, he filled up the sheet. And Michael Porter Jr. Proving himself. I mean, he had a couple 30-point games. The Nuggets took a gamble on him when he was supposed to be drafted a lot higher, but got really injured. And they put in the time and investment with him, and he has looked absolutely incredible. He's actually slowly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. And the coach of the seeding games was Monty Williams, head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and that was definitely well-deserved by him. I mean, they didn't lose a game, so I don't know. You can't really argue that one.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say two things. One, obviously you don't want to mess with Giannis or you will get head-butted, which you don't want that. And also Michael Porter Jr., I'd seen that he was like averaging single digits in points prior to the bubble. And then, come Orlando bubble time, he was averaging like 20 plus. So it's crazy what the bubble did for some of these guys.
Well, for him in particular, he was always one of the most highly recruited players in his class. He's one of the most highly scouted players in his draft class. He just had that horrible injury. But having, he played a couple games earlier in the season, as you mentioned, averaging single digits. But having the COVID happen, he had a lot of time, even more time to heal. And there are certain players on Denver that are still injured and didn't come back to play, which just gave him his opportunity where they actually needed him to play a lot more minutes. And he went out there and proved himself. So
yeah,
you love to see it.
Yeah. And, talking about, playing in this interesting time, the bubble, and just not being no fans, whatever the case may be, we saw in the play-in game with Portland and Memphis, the news about Nurkic and his grandma.
Yeah.
Like, he found out that she passed away like hours before the game, and then he went and played one of the best games of his career, balling out. He, in a situation like that, bro, I mean, that's crazy. And a must-win game, obviously, for him to perform like that was really great to see. And especially with the Blazers, like you wanted the Blazers to win that game one, and you didn't want to see them lose because then they would have had to play the next day in a must-win or go-home situation, and this gives them a little bit more time off. But Jason, you talked about the play-in game in general. And if that's something that the NBA could benefit from in the near future, I totally agree. It reminds me a lot of a wild card game, if you will, in baseball. Yeah. Because one thing about too, if there was, fans in the stands and like COVID wasn't happening, like that game would be a sellout. It would be nuts. It'd be awesome to be there if your team is in that game, or just to watch it on TV, which we've talked about before. It's incredible what ESPN and NBA on ABC, what they can do with no fans in the stands. It sounds like there is a full-blown crowd there. Still blows my mind. It's really fun to watch. And for these guys, there's so much more on the line when it comes to this playing game and trying to get that 8th seed.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I think it's a good idea. I like it. I'd like to see it in the future. I could understand that if the Blazers lost, 2 games in a row and Grizzlies got in, how a lot of Blazers fans would be upset with it. But I don't know. I think it makes it a little more exciting. Definitely makes positioning for come around playoff time a lot more interesting. It's almost like the 7th seed becomes the new 8th seed in a way, because you don't have to risk playing that play-in game and we'll just get automatically in the playoffs. And, if there's a fight between the 10th and 9th seed, it keeps teams that were previously out of it still competitive and still have a chance to make the playoffs. And I think overall, you're pretty much making the argument that it's more exciting basketball down the stretch, which is what fans in the league should strive for and, want to see in general.
Yeah. So Jason, we're looking here at the playoff schedule. Obviously you got the Nuggets and Jazz playing right now. So aside from that, do you see any upsets? Do you think the Trailblazers could upset the Lakers in the first round? Is it possible? I think
let's hear
it could happen. Look, with the way that they've been playing and Dame has been playing and how hungry he is right now, the combination of him and CJ McCollum, bro, is ridiculous. We know how the Lakers have been playing as of late. Is it possible? I think so. I think realistically, it's probably the only upset that could happen in terms of the West. I don't see the Thunder beating the Rockets.
Oh,
I don't see the Mavs upsetting the Clippers, and I think the Nuggets are going to take care of the Jazz. So I think obviously this is the biggest series that everyone is watching. It's going to be the most exciting, considering you have the Lakers and the Blazers, and it's the 1 and the 8 seed. But if anything's possible, I wouldn't put it past them, and I think they could do it.
all right. So I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with you there.
Okay.
And you mentioned how they've been playing as of late, as your example as to why you think they can upset the Lakers. But I'm gonna use the way they've been playing as of late as an example of why
Against
they
them.
will not upset the Lakers. Because if you look at their games, they're beating, the mediocre to bottom tier teams in the bubble by 1 or 2 points or 3 points. I mean, they beat the Nets by 1 point coming down to like the last shot. And it's because their defense has been so lackluster in the bubble. I mean, they can definitely score the ball. We've seen that. We've seen what Dame can do. We've seen what McCollum can do when Dame has an off night. We've seen the work that even Carmelo Anthony has been able to put in throughout the
Mhm.
bubbles, which has been surprising a lot of people. But I think they really are going to have to get it together on the defensive end because you're giving up 130 points to a Brooklyn Nets squad that's missing a couple of its starters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're giving
Yeah.
up a lot of points to the Memphis Grizzlies, to the Suns, to whoever. I mean, they've really struggled on the defensive end, and that's where I think the Lakers might have an edge. I do think the Blazers are definitely capable of taking a game off of the Lakers. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they'll get swept. But I just don't see that upset happening. And I think a lot of people are buying the hype on the Blazers right now just because of the performance they've been putting on offensively. But there's two parts to the game.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that the Blazers, at least offensively, are going to slow down at all?
I
Because
mean,
that's what
it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. That's for
okay.
sure, because
I
they
got
can
it.
definitely light it up offensively. And I remember there's this one guy who was a basketball capper that I followed like 2 years ago, and he was pretty much saying like the Blazers' magic number. This was 2 years ago, so it might not be the same, but it's like our magic number is 113. He's like, if we score 113 points, we're winning the game no matter what.
No matter what.
Like once we pass that threshold, the game is ours. But if a team can stop us from getting there, then we're going to have a tough time. And I believe that because when it comes down to a shootout, the Trailblazers look really, really good. Moving on to the rest of the Western Conference, I absolutely believe the Thunder can upset the Rockets. There's a really big personal beef there between Chris Paul and the Rockets organization because remember they traded Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook. And you have to consider that Westbrook is injured right now. Okay, he might miss a game or two because of this quadricep injury, and if that is the case, that could be a free game right there for the Thunder that they could take away, and that game could be all they need. I could see this series going 6 or 7 games. The Rockets could definitely win, but it all depends on that 3-point shooting of theirs. They can be really hot or really cold, and they're going to need to be really hot throughout the entire playoffs if they want to make a legitimate run. But I do believe the Nuggets will end up beating the Jazz, and the Clippers will beat the Mavericks, which is honestly also a very interesting matchup because the Mavericks, I don't know if you knew this, set a record for like most efficient offense in like the history of the league. They're averaging 115 and a half points per 100 possessions. I mean, it's really incredible. But every time they played the Clippers, they've lost this year. So that's an interesting one. And we know how great they can be defensively. And then in the
Yeah.
East, the only upset I'm seeing is the Heat upsetting the Pacers, the 5-4. And the 5-4, as everyone knows, isn't always, the huge upset. That one can kind of go either way. I just think the Heat are a little bit deeper and they're more consistent with their 3-point shooting, and it'll be hard for the Pacers to keep up.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, Jimmy Buckets, bro, could just take the series in his hands. And like you say, you got the 4 and the 5 matchup. Not much of an upset there, if you will. TJ Warren is going to need to keep playing as well as he's been. Otherwise, I don't think they really stand a chance. How do you feel, though, about the 76ers and the Celtics? Is there any shot, even though Simmons is out, can Joel Embiid step things up? or are the Celtics just going to slam them?
See, that's the thing with Simmons out. I think it's going to be pretty hard for the Sixers to do, and for Embiid to put that team on his back. We've seen him kind of struggle with his health too throughout the years, and him getting a little bit exhausted. So I think it'll definitely be an interesting series. I feel like that is the first round matchup in the East for the Celtics and Sixers. I feel like that's been a matchup for that's like 3 or 4 years. Like I feel like we've seen them play 100 times at this point, and the Celtics just seem to have the Sixers number, in my opinion. So,
well, Jason, we are going to find out. Things will be interesting come next week's episode. A lot can change. There's obviously a lot that we don't know. I mean, look at the Suns going 8-0. So you just look, you never know. And things can change each and every day. So plenty to look forward to. And I'm really excited for this Lakers and Blazers series. I'm sure you are, and I'm sure many others are. But we're going to jump to our next segment in other news, which, Jason, I'm really excited to talk about this. We spoke beforehand, and I'm glad that you are aware of what we're going to be talking about today. So for those of you guys out there listening, there is this game. It's called Fall Guys, and it is a battle royale-esque game, if you will. It's like you're these little
guys,
these little people, guys, if you will. And so you start, there's like 60 in a game. And then as you go on, there's 5 rounds, with the 5th round being the final round. And about 10 to 13, 14, 15 people are eliminated each round. They're game show style, if you will. So at most, each round lasts anywhere from like 3 to 4 minutes. And the goal is to be the last one standing. So, Jason, I am lucky. I got a PlayStation, and this game is only on PlayStation and PC at the moment. It is not on Xbox. But I love it. I've been playing like each and every day for hours on end. It's addicting. It's great. I hate it sometimes, but I love it. You've been watching it on Twitch. So what are your thoughts? It's tough that you haven't gotten to play it, but, dude, it's so much fun.
I mean, what really upsets me is it's available on, so you, as you said, it's available on PlayStation and on PC, which is like Windows computers. Okay.
Right.
So that's like Microsoft, right? And who makes Xbox? Microsoft. So why is this not available on Xbox? I don't get it. Of course, I have the combination of an Xbox and a Mac instead of the other way around. Like it's just brutal. I have to hear everyone talking about how much fun they're having play this game. I'm seeing all these videos on YouTube, on Twitch. And I just want to break the news here. Denver Nuggets get the win 135 over the Utah Jazz 125. So I'm no longer currently sweating Nuggets money line and spread. I officially cashed those. I also took Nuggets first half -2. So I am actually 3-0 in the bubble during playoffs.
Wow, look at Jason.
Yep. But yeah, Fall Guys. That's what I'm saying. Fall Guys looks incredibly fun. It's just so, what a unique idea, right? I mean, you have all of these different mini games that you play that are, for the most part, just unique in themselves. I mean, like we could talk about them for a minute. You have just general obstacle courses. You have like some where you have to, there's like a bunch of doors and some of them open, some of them don't. You have to run through them.
That's one of my favorites. That one's
a dead sprint. Yeah.
Well,
and
okay,
then,
so go on.
I was going to say, you have the ones where there's like all the tiles, and only some of them are like actually tiles. The other, you fall to your death. They have the fruit one. They have the ones where you have steal people's tails, and you have to have a tail at the end of the round. They have soccer. They have I think the hexagon one seems super cool.
Okay.
Pop off.
You nailed it. Okay, so listen. So also too, I was gonna say they're popping off in general. They have Fall Guys has 861,000 followers on Twitter, and their TikTok is pretty big too. But they're Fall Guys. Their Twitter page is great. They have a lot of really funny tweets. Go check them out. Also follow us on Instagram at Bagels and Locks Pod. Anyway, Hexagon though is sweet. So it is only, in terms of the final round, there's like 2 different games that you will play, 2 to 3. Typically, it's hexagon when there's like 10 people left. So picture this. There's about 10 levels. Let's see how we can explain this without any visualization. So everybody starts like at the top. You're on a hexagon.
That's made up of mini hexagons.
Correct. So when it's 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so you try to jump and then you fall. So each time that you are running across a hexagon, they disappear
Beneath your feet. So you have to go from one to the next one to stay on top.
Now there are 10 levels. So like here, 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 here. And people are consistently either jumping across, like staying on top, or they are falling through to the next level. And so the thing is where it gets crazy is if you have people that are below you, they are taking up hexagons. So the board, if you will, of hexagons is emptying as people fall through. So someone could be on the very bottom and you could be in the top. But if you fall, you could fall realistically several levels almost to the bottom. So it's a combination of like luck and skill, and there's different techniques.
I feel like that one's the most skill based of all the modes, in my opinion. What would you say is the most skill based?
It's a great question because a lot of them are luck, right? A lot of them.
Well, the one where the fruit is just flying at you is 100% luck.
That one is easier than it appears to be. Because all you have to do is run up I swear, bro, all you do is run up the right-hand side and you're there. As long as you don't botch, like you're fine. There is one that is called Slime Climb, which is stupid hard.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one, yeah. There's some shortcuts on that one, too.
There are shortcuts, but the key is you want to, stay ahead of you could win, realistically, on Slime Climb. If you qualify and everyone else gets eliminated. Like, it's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
But Slime Climb is tough because there's a point where there's, like, you have a yellow – it's a lot like Wipeout, if you remember the show Wipeout, when people have to run across, like, the big-ass red balls and you don't want to get hit by things swinging back and forth. But this level is – the hardest part is there's, like, these 3 yellow tubes, and you jump on it to try to walk across. And it's, like, slippery. And you can't stay up. Like, dude, I hate when I get Slime Climb because I can't get on those tubes. Like, I can't stay up. So I, like, die there every time. But if I had to say one with the most skill, it probably is Hexagon because you have to think, like, 5 steps ahead. Like, you have to know if you're going to jump and miss. Like, you want to know where you're going to land. And if you're really good, people will jump in individual hexagons, which is hard to do. It's hard to get the timing right. I'm getting better at that, and I came in second place like the other night.
Have you ever won? That's the most important question. We never got to.
Won,
oh
bro.
My gosh, bro!
I've come close. I came close the other night, but it's stupid hard. There's no like. It's not like any other battle royale game that you've played. It's not Warzone. It's not Fortnite. Granted, they're 2 different things, but in terms of how you win, there's gonna be 10 people left max, like at least 8 to 10. That will not change. The key though is you just have to know where you're gonna land, like straight up. Otherwise, you're gonna get screwed. It's a little bit of luck, it's a little bit of skill, but it's a whole lot of fun. I love it. If you guys are playing Fall Guys, please let us know. What do you think is your favorite rounds to play? Do you hate Seesaw? Jason, I don't know if you know about Seesaw.
Oh, yeah, everyone hates that one.
Sucks.
Yeah.
We do not like Seesaw. That is a game where people playing can just totally fuck you over because if they don't know what they're doing, it screws you over too. But it can be rewarding. It can be a lot of fun. Fall Guys is a great game. I love it. If you guys have PS4, go ahead and add me. My gamer tag is Hershey Loves Me. Don't make fun of me because my mom made that for me years ago, and Hershey was my dog. So, R.I.P. But
I think we're gonna move on here to MLB. But
Yes.
before we do, I think we're gonna keep a running total of how many crowns you get in Fall Guys. So you're at 0 now. Hopefully by next week you can have at least 1.
Well, I have one. I have 1 crown. Also, this episode was brought to you in part by Kroger's mini twisted pretzels. Go get some today. They are not
No
tough.
free ads, bro. Fuck that.
What do you mean? It's fine. This
It's
episode is
not
also
fine.
brought to you in part by Steve's Mediterranean Hummus.
Stop.
Jason, is that
Fuck
your
you,
hummus?
Steve.
Is that your hummus? No, it's Steve's. Steve's Mediterranean Hummus.
Hopefully that hit for some of you listening, because that was a horrible joke
It was
from
not
my
horrible.
experience.
Whoa, what better time for pretzels and
Dude,
hummus than
this is
in
a
the middle?
podcast. You're gonna eat food and have talk while you're eating.
Someone out there is vibing with this right now. Like, wow, I wish I could have pulled out pretzels and hummus
Jeez.
when I was a guest.
All right, Brandon. Let's hear it. The big MLB news that has Detroit Tigers fans shaking in their boots. What is the news?
We stink. No, the Tigers are finally calling up Casey Mize. He is our prized pitching possession prospect, if you will. First round pick, first overall pick back in 2018. This needed to happen because, look, Jason, the Tigers, like we said last week, the series between Cleveland and Chicago, as my Siri gets randomly called, the series between Chicago and Cleveland was the telltale sign as to whether or not the Tigers are legit.
Well, and we lost Crone for those series too, which is a huge loss.
Which is crazy because I had said, you can go back and watch. I said, he'll be fine. He just has like a sore leg, a sore knee, whatever. He'll be back in a couple of days. And here we are.
Not the case.
Season-ending surgery. What the fuck? Like, what? I didn't see it. Whatever. It's a bummer.
One of the few things we've ever gotten wrong by predicting in the future on this show.
Yeah, I couldn't. When I saw the tweet that he was out for the season with surgery, I was shook. But anyway, back to the important note at hand. Casey Mize is much needed right now, Jason. The Tigers pitching staff absolutely blows. The only reason that we won any games in the first place was because after our pitching blew the lead or gave up a lead, our offense was able to jump back, score some runs, and the bullpen held the lead. Well, look, our bullpen's been solid lately too, continuing its dominance. The offense has slacked in the series with Cleveland and Chicago, and to no one's surprise, the starting pitching staff is absolutely brutal. We only have 2 quality starts on the season. 2 of those belong to Spencer Turnbull. Everyone else is just garbage. Ivan Nova got rocked, sent to the DL. Fulmer's not looking like he once was. Daniel Norris seems to be a little bit promising. Tyler Alexander looks good coming out of the bullpen, but Matt Boyd blows. I wish we traded him last season.
Should I take the White Sox today? Like, he gave up 7 runs against them a week ago.
Dude, he's got it.
Every start we keep saying this. He's got to turn around. He's got to turn around. Like, what's going on with him? Because I don't think he's turning around. I think he's just might not be as good as we think he is.
You think he just sucks at this point? Like, shit.
He hasn't proven anything this season, at least. He might still be a good pitcher, but you got to admit this is a bad year for him.
Oh, it's a really bad year. But I think that he can turn. We know what he's capable of.
I feel like I don't know, man.
Look, I'll say it right here, right now. I think Boyd's going to pitch a great game tonight, and who knows? Maybe I'll be looking dumb by the end of tonight, or maybe I'll make a right prediction for once. We know what he can do, but at this point, we don't. Other than Turnbull, we don't have anyone to rely on to give us a quality start, and that's where Casey Mize comes in. Honestly, Tarek Skubal.
I was about to mention, what do you think about him?
Yeah, so Mize is the righty. Skubal, you have a lefty. Casey Mize is the number 2 overall on MLB. No, sorry. Number 2 in the Tigers or farm system. You got Torkelson at number 1. Skubal at number 6. Or number 5. And Isaac Paredes, who I think we got in either the JV or the JD Martinez trade. I can't remember which. But he's just a good bat to have in the infield, obviously, with the loss of CJ Crone. But, bro, Casey Mize's stats are ridiculous. His career numbers in the minors, 26 games. He had 1 no-hitter. His ERA is 2.71. He's given up 93 hits in 123 innings pitched, 26 walks, 120 strikeouts. Mize has nasty stuff. And honestly, for as tough as this last week and a half has been for Tigers fans, this is a great boost, a great reason to turn them on after a 20-game consecutive win streak that is going on against the Cleveland Indians. And we haven't won 20 in a row.
Yeah.
They've beat us 20 times. That is so tough. And look, right now is a big time. Like we've talked about this before. Every game matters, and for so long we were like, well, are the Tigers legit? Can they actually pull this off? And we were 9-5. We're on a 5-game losing streak now.
We're on a little skid right now.
It's tough, but look, anything can happen. I think Casey Mize is the right call. Originally, a couple of days ago, Al Avila was like, yeah, it's not happening. We're not calling him up. He needs to eat more innings. He needs more. Bro, I mean, obviously that's BS. And he quickly just heard all the fans and was like, yeah, we got to bring him up because Nova is, on the DL and what have you, and we don't have any starting pitching. So if we look at it now, we got Boyd going tonight against the White Sox. Then we have Skubal going on Tuesday and Casey Mize making his debut on Wednesday and Spencer Turnbull on Thursday. So realistically, this big 4-game series is coming up. I think we take at least 2 out of 4 games. I think we split the series, weather permitting. And I think that this addition of Mize and Skubal will make a solid difference. And if anything is going to push us back in the right direction of winning games again, it's this call right here.
Couldn't agree with you more, man. I mean, what's not to like? What's not to be excited about? Especially in a shortened season like this, you might as well take the risk, give him a shot. And as you said, I mean, he throws some nasty stuff, and I think it's just gonna give a little boost to the team. Maybe get a little second wind here, go on another win streak. Who knows? But I'm really excited to see Mize, praying to God he doesn't get rocked on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Would that just be like the final blow, like the final nail in our coffin? That would just suck. But
yeah,
I think he's definitely something special, as does pretty much everyone in baseball. I mean, first overall pick, one of the top prospects in the entire MLB. It's going to be exciting on Wednesday. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what Torkelson and Mize have in common is like when both these guys were drafted, it was like, well, why don't we just call them up now? Like, why should they play in the minors? These guys could be balling for Detroit right now. So I'm really excited for Mize. Watch out for that splitter sinker pitch. It is nasty. Yeah, that's his bread and butter pitch right there. So I'm really excited to see him. I think he's gonna, do wonders for us. And this is the time. We really need it for him to get going, or for him to get up in the big leagues and really push this team in the right direction, because the bullpen is fine, which is so surprising. Our bullpen has been garbage in years past, and the offense just need to take things up a little bit. But other than that, Jason, I'm really excited. The White Sox, though, have been on a tear recently. The other day they had 4 home runs in a row. Their offense is stupid scary. I love Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert. They're sick. I don't know if you saw. Did you see the Cardinals doubleheader, like their first games back without playing in, what was it, like 2 weeks?
Nope.
So they took both games from the White Sox in their doubleheader, which I had a feeling, I was like, bro, that's free money right there if you're betting, because you have a team like the Cardinals, a really good team that hasn't played in so long. Like, they've been itching to play. They are winning for sure one of those games. They went ahead and won 2 of them.
I know a couple people have the Cardinals tonight against the Cubs, who have actually been one of the most incredible teams in the league up to this point so far. And actually, the Cubs have Hendricks on the mound for them tonight, who has been really quietly kind of competing for Cy Young. I mean, he's been phenomenal with his stuff.
Yeah, and he's a guy he doesn't throw harder than 90 miles an hour, but
no,
one of the best pitchers in the National League. Let's look at the slate for Tuesday, because odds are, if you're listening right now, it will probably be Tuesday. So we can go ahead and I will make a couple picks here. You have Zach Greinke on the mound. Houston and Colorado. That's an interesting series because one, the Astros suck. We love.
I
to see
actually
it.
have the Rockies tonight. I have a little baseball parlay cooked up tonight.
Do you
Yeah.
share, please?
Okay,
share.
well, it sort of has to relate to what we were going to talk about next with the San Francisco Giants, but I have the Angels plus -1.5 plus 110 because they're playing the Giants tonight. I got the Yankees -1.5 plus 110 against the Red Sox. They've just been obliterating them in that series. Doesn't really matter who's pitching against them or what's going on. And then I also have the Rockies plus 135, I think, over the Astros tonight because the Rockies are also quietly one of the better teams in the league, and they've been hitting the shit out of the ball. And the Astros bullpen has looked absolutely awful. So you could have that parlay for 10 to win 90 or plus 900. Some super juice on that one. We'll see what happens there. If you're listening tomorrow, probably missed. If it hit, I'm a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Just know that much.
Just looking at the slate for Tuesday, I'm going to make a couple picks in terms of money lines only because I don't have any of the other lines in front of me. But I'm going to say you ride the Padres. You got Chris Paddock on the mound. I would also take the Angels. You have Dylan Bundy on the mound, who's really made a name for himself. This dude is 3-1 with a 1.57 ERA. Used to pitch for the Orioles, and for him, a big change of scenery really made a difference. This guy is looking like one of the better pitchers in the American League out of nowhere. I ride the A's as well. They are 16-6. That number will change as of tomorrow when the A's are hot, one of the better teams in baseball. And I also like the Indians against the Pirates. Carlos
Damn, you're
Carrasco.
picking all these favorites.
Yeah, but who's to say they all won't win? I mean, Pirates stink, and
if you know anything about gambling,
let's
just say the favorites don't usually win them all.
You're not kidding, brother. I do want to talk about, though, like you said, we came across a couple.
Are those all your picks? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Those are just a couple little easy money there for you guys.
Okay.
According to Brandon. But are the Giants, the San Francisco Giants, that is, are they throwing games? We came across a couple TikToks explaining why. I don't think they are.
Ooh.
Like, it's stupid. Like, honestly, it was stupid. When I watched it, I was like, that's dumb. Because, look, the A's have been doing as well as they have been because
they're a great team.
Like, they're not like, if you look at the Astros and the whole cheating scandal, like, it probably made a big difference because Jose Altuve right now is – and so is that whole team. And the A's are absolutely on fire. But I don't think – why would the Giants be throwing games? Is it so that the A's could easily win the AL West over the Astros?
Perhaps because they're making less money this year. They're gambling against themselves. And they're trying to recoup those losses by intentionally throwing the games.
You really think that, though?
No, you just asked what would be a reason. That could be a reason. I don't know what incentive they would have to throw these games, but if you looked at these TikToks, it sure does look like they're trying to throw them. You had Hunter Pence, just the ball's going way over his head. He's coming in and then going back out and missing it. You have the pitching situation where they intentionally walk a guy and the catcher gives him the thumbs up after the walk, and then you give him like just a pitch right down the middle to hit a home run to put them down 2 runs. Then you also have a chance for a great double play opportunity. First baseman misses the bag, throws it to second base. Second baseman misses the bag. They get nobody out. I don't really think they're intentionally throwing games, but it's incredible how awful they're playing right now.
Yeah, look, in a season where every game matters, there's no reason for them to be throwing these games. And the Giants are honestly a decent team in terms of, like, they have great pitching.
Well, they've had the lead in, like, all of these scenarios, too.
That is true, too.
That's where the controversy kind of comes in.
So they don't really have much to lose. I don't know why this guy on TikTok thinks that. I mean, he's the only one. Look,
he probably has been putting some money on the Giants and just been getting screwed over and noticing all these very minute details. Yeah. But
if John Boy, who I'm sure you know who John Boy is, he's the guy.
Yeah.
if he comes out and makes a video and is like, I think the A's or the Giants are throwing away games,
You'll believe it.
because he's more credible than Mr. TikTok over here. Okay,
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
hungry for views and likes. I don't believe it for a second. I just think it's a little stupid. But anyway, the MLB, Jason, just it's been crazy. I'm really excited to see what Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal are going to bring to the table. If the Tigers can turn things around, we know how good Cleveland is. We know how good Chicago is. They are not going to win the Central. I can guarantee you that. If anything, they will be a wild card team. So there's still a lot to look forward to. And as long as the bullpen stays how they're doing and our offense can tick things up, and Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal bring some much-needed innings and quality starts to the table, you're looking at a sub-500 team that has a solid chance at possibly making the playoffs. But we will see. We're going to move on here, talk a little bit of football action. So, Jason, we know that the Big Ten decided to make the decision, cancel football. There will be no football this fall. Tough for anyone who's going back up to school. There will be no tailgating on Saturday. I
think there'll still be parties on Saturday for sure. There might not be a game, but
there may not be a game. I don't remember. I was talking about this with someone the other day, but I was like, yeah, Saturdays, they're still waking up 6 a.m. We're starting to drink. You are not doing anything on a Saturday in the fall because the weather is still beautiful, but there's no football. So that is definitely a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, definitely. So as you're saying, even though the Big Ten canceled football, top prospect, Ohio State quarterback, Justin Fields, might know him from QB1, started a hashtag We Want to Play petition. It has 240,000 of 300,000 signatures. Pretty much is him and other people saying that they want the Big Ten to play football. They don't feel the decision made by the committee was adequate, or the study that they used to base it off of was adequate, which, I may or may not agree with a little bit. That study was based off of, like 45 to 50-year-old men and how the coronavirus affects them instead of young 20-year-olds that are, athletes. I do still think it is the right decision to cancel it, but it's just interesting. What the real question is, what does this even mean if this petition gets 300,000 signatures? What does that goal even mean? Can the Big Ten go back on this decision, Brandon?
The only way I see that happening is if the virus numbers like drastically decrease within the next 1 to 2 months. That's the only way. I mean, otherwise, why else would football be played? Did you see that DM that was like intramural sports are still being played at MSU? Yeah. Okay. Like, that's an interesting call. And I'm sure so many football players have seen that and been like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Like, how come they get to play and we don't? I don't see.
Maybe they'll be signing up for.
That's so funny. They can't.
In the frat league, they'll be playing against Pike.
Oh, yeah. That'll be exciting to watch. Drawing massive crowds that I am.
Dude, imagine if we got like
to,
Eli and Davion and all of them to play on like the Sammy team. That would have been hilarious.
Coach Brad. Oh, my God.
Goodness.
That would be a blast. I would drive up to school just to watch that. There's no way, though, that football resumes. And this petition, I mean, right, 300,000, like there's no – it's not like, 300,000 won. Now we
have to play. There's nothing you can do about it. We got all these signatures.
It doesn't mean anything. There's no way that it's going to happen. I've said this again with the NFL. I don't even think the NFL is going to happen, but you see otherwise. There's just no way that football returns this fall unless in a month there is a vaccine and the numbers drastically go down, which is like a 0% chance. So there's no chance that it happens. It's tough. Like, don't get me wrong. It's super tough, and I wish that we were playing football, that football was happening, but there's, like, no way. There's 0 chance.
So going on that, the Big 12, ACC, and SEC are all planning to start their seasons as of today, Monday, August 17th at 4:46 p.m. while we're recording this. The SEC announced they're pushing their season back a month. They're going to give it some time and see what happens with cases before they announce canceling it. So they're sort of delaying. So do you think that they'll end up playing or canceling just as the Big Ten and Pac-12 had? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to end up playing? Because the doctors and whomever they have consulted said there's no issue. Their health isn't going to be fine. Because the reason why the Big Ten canceled is because they consulted these medical professionals. They said, you better not do this. But the medical professionals that the SEC and the ACC and Big 12 have consulted said you're good. You're fine. There's no risk.
Well, there's two sides to every story. Everyone has different views on everything, whether it's political views on who's going to win the game tonight. And this is a story of like life and death. I mean, we've seen, at least in terms of kids that are going back to like in-person classes, there's like that one school in Georgia, I think they had like 80 kids test positive in a day. And that's just going to school. We're talking football. We're talking helmet to helmet, breathing amongst one another. Like, this isn't baseball. It's not, I mean, it's tough. There's just no way. I guess, sure, push it back a month. It's not going to do anything. It just makes, like the potential seem like it's possible to play, but there's just no way it's going to happen. I don't think that if they do play, I would think you'd have several players opting out, because look at baseball, right? In the Cleveland Indians, we saw Mike Clevenger and Zach Plesac, Mike Clevenger, great pitcher. They both went out, left the hotel in Chicago to go to dinner. And I saw today that a pitcher on the Indians said he threatened to opt out if those guys weren't punished for what they did. Now, you're talking Major League Baseball professional athletes. These are college kids playing football. You're on a college campus. You don't think anyone's going to break the rules, like break quarantine or whatever they would have in place. And if one person tests positive, it's peace. Football is peace. Mm-hmm. So there's no chance. Guys aren't going to want to stick with any sort of rules that are in place, and it's just going to be a mess. So they have to bite the bullet, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week. I agree with you. I think the SEC and ACC and Big 12, what they're doing is kind of giving people hope. And this is one thing but this is one thing that Big Cat from Barstool was kind of talking about. He was saying, like, well, those conferences are kind of like probably inevitably going to end up canceling. But what they're doing is saying, we did all we could. We tried pushing it back. We consulted these medical people. We tried doing all these precautions in practice or whatever. But at the end of the day, we couldn't do it, compared to the Big Ten, who's just kind of before anything's getting going is like, nope, sorry, like can't get it going. So he thinks that's the difference there. I mean, whether that's here nor there, it doesn't make a difference. There's probably just not going to be football being played.
Yeah. And you have all these teams and schools, they're missing out on millions of dollars. So it's not like they are opting out because the players aren't like, these teams are losing and schools are losing tons of money. So that you have to consider that too, as to why these decisions are being made. Not only are they, consulting with the doctors for health reasons, but like, it's serious business considering millions of dollars are being missed out. And
yeah, I mean, but that's also a very serious, like for the Big Ten and Pac-12. I mean, their football programs, it's the same thing. There's, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin. I mean, all these schools still, they're losing a ton of money too. But, it should be interesting to see what happens. Speaking of football, though, move on to pro football. So now officially, the new Monday Night Football commentator team has been announced, it's announced as Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick. And Lisa Salters and John Perry will also return to the telecast from the sidelines. The first game is the Titans at the Broncos, and the second game of Week 1's Monday Night Football doubleheader. So, how do you feel about this crew? I know you probably don't care about it as much as I do. I'm more of I love Monday Night Football. I think it's one of the best things in the world. Do you have any opinion on this? Any thought on this one?
Well, I know that they pieced Booger McFarland, right?
Yeah.
So is he? But they didn't. I think they just fired him, unless he went to NBC. I don't really
I
know.
don't know if anyone else picked him up. I all I know is everyone hated watching him, and the whole Booger Mobile, which was like he was in the machine that like went up and down the sideline and not in the booth with the other guys, but he was constantly talking to him. It was so awkward. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's not on it anymore.
Realistically, though, my thoughts about this crew is that it's tough for them because football's not going to happen.
Bro,
So
there's gonna be week one. Like, do you want to make a bet on the podcast right now, like for like real money? There's gonna be week one.
tempting. I listen. I think there is going to be week one, but I think there's
So
nothing
that's football.
Okay, but that's that 1 week, and then it's
Okay, well, you're saying there's no football going to be played. That's football being played. That's 16 games or whatever.
Sure, but I'm saying like it's not. There won't be a full season. I hear you. 1 week, and that's it.
I'm saying at least. I don't know if that's going to be it. Dude, you got to watch Hard Knocks. You got to stop being a bitch. You got to look at all these. You got to look at all these precautions and shit they're taking. Not that every team isn't, and not that I don't think the season. The season will probably get canceled at some point. But I'm just saying, you got to watch Hard Knocks. So one, we can talk about it on this show.
Okay.
Because it's amazing.
I will watch.
Okay. Well, next episode comes out Tuesday night. So you're gonna have two. You're gonna have to. There's one a week. It's an hour long, and usually what it is they follow around one team for the entire preseason.
Mm-hmm.
So they follow them at training camp. They get the drama of like the coaches hyping up the guys, people getting cut, people getting signed, and then they always have like a little segment where it's like live footage from that week's preseason game, and like you get to hear them in the huddle and on the sidelines. It's really cool. But this year there's no So this year, instead of one team, it's two teams. It's the Chargers and the Rams because they're both in LA.
Sure.
So they're doing two teams for the first time ever. I think part of that is because you're not getting any preseason games anymore because they canceled all of those.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool that you get to see all the precautions that they're taking, how differently to each of the teams are handling it. In my opinion, I think the Chargers are taking it way more seriously than the Rams are. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
That's partially because the Chargers coach announced that he actually had coronavirus and beat it. So he knows what it's like, how much it sucks, doesn't want that for any of his guys. And so they're taking it super duper seriously. But back to the topic at hand, I don't really like this commentator crew. I just remember the golden days of Gruden and Tirico. I mean, that was just, you had Spider 2Y Banana, the silliness of Gruden and the seriousness of Mike Tirico with his amazing voice. I just feel like we'll never get back to that, and I feel like we're just getting further and further away from that. Steve Levy, great guy on SportsCenter, but Greasy and Riddick, two football guys. I think Riddick has some good analysis, but I don't know. He doesn't. There's not like a spice factor in there for me. Like I need a little. I don't know, a little something.
You're on the right path of making a name for yourself, Jay. Who knows? You could be the guy who brings that spice to the booth come 5-6 years from now. You never know.
I mean, at this rate, they've switched the commentator team pretty much every year. So come, 30 years from now, I think they'll have run through everyone on the planet. So I'll be like the only guy left, and they're going to have to pick me.
Well, in this crazy time in 2020, there could be some good to come out of that, and who knows? You'll have Jason Silverstone on the sidelines reporting for Monday Night Football on ESPN. It's a possibility. Maybe it'll happen. Who knows? Jason, though, I think we discussed as much as we possibly could today. Another great episode here in the books. If you guys have made it this far, we appreciate everything that you have done. If you have watched us live on Instagram, we appreciate that as well. If you have commented on anything that we have posted, we appreciate all the love and support and all the hard work that is done at the hands of Jason as well as myself. But yeah, we there's plenty to look forward to next week. A lot of NBA playoffs going on. Still curious to see how Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal look in donning the old English D. And will there be football? Probably not. I will be watching Hard Knocks. So will Jason and Jay. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram if you haven't yet, at Bagels and Locks Pod. Good content on there, some really funny teasers. I actually got a lot of feedback from the one posted last week with us just breathing in and saying for 30 seconds. That was a good one. We post about upcoming episodes and just some fun teasers on there. The fucking NBA playoffs are here in the middle of the afternoon in August. I don't even, my brain can't comprehend that. Just wild.
At some point, the cider mills will open. You'll go get some cider and donuts, come home, and watch some NBA playoffs. Who'd have thunk? But, Jay, I think we should Quavo, Offset, and Take Off. I am Brandon Rothenberg.
Ugh.
This is Jason Silverstone. He was not the biggest fan of that one. We'll see you guys next week on Bagels and Locks.